Hey, yo, welcome to it, man. It is another episode of Kicks and Culture Podcast. I'm your boy Valentino, aka the king of everything you like.
And your boy Louis Sipera, the most handsome 34-year-old on the side of the equator, the most handsome guy in the cheese cock. Muhammad Ali's protege, roll like a butterfly and buzz more than a beehive.
But wait, what?
Must I say it slow?
Beehive.
Beehive. Buzz more than a beehive, where bees live. It's a hive. Buzz more.
Oh, I thought maybe you were talking about Beyonce's fans.
No.
Yeah, man. Yeah, welcome to it. It is another Kicks and Culture podcast. It's one of those, man, where we control the culture and also talk about the culture as it is, and it's unfiltered. So yeah, man, we have a lot to chop today. Yeah, and you know, as the culture controller, the person who works on everything, you know.
Okay, Mr. Converse.
Yeah, Mr. Converse, baba.
Zophuma kuwe njengepuma. Ngizovele ngiphume kuwe nje.
Yeah, so now we wear these ones, my chucks, you know what I'm saying? I had to, you know, come through with the best of the best.
And I think they're fresh, man.
Yeah,
they're very.
They're really nice and comfortable. You know, people are always complaining about corns, you know, but you end up building your own corns. But hey,
no.
We're right here. These ones are really comfortable, man.
They really look comfortable.
Yeah.
I think with me, generally with sneakers, like I love the boot ones or the top ones, but for me, sneaker must be flat. That is why even in the previous episodes, if you've noticed, they've always like flat sneakers. Flat sneakers.
Those are comfortable for you. Those are your go-to things.
Yeah, go-to. I'm a boots massive on other people.
Yeah.
I just think I was not the target market when they...
Nah, man. For me, like, you know why I love this is because you can like wear them with anything. True. And they fit so nicely. They are comfortable. Even if when you're like gonna go out and stuff like that, I almost said... yeah, but but I just needed to like, you know, like rock out today, look fresh.
And shout out to Converse also because the colors, they're very, very brave, deliberate on the colors as well.
Yeah.
And also the shades and the shape of the shoe.
Yeah.
I'm a cons or not, there's pros and cons.
To everything, you know, as we enter the conversation. Yeah, understand.
Look, we're 3 episodes in.
We're man.
So we're reflecting.
Thank you so much to everybody, man, who's been supporting us. And yeah, man, shout out to the team also. Like, we're really holding it down and we're just doing our best to make sure that, we just give people the best content that we can.
Yep.
And also grow as a podcast. Which is really good because like this is like we're new to this. We're tapping into the new space.
Unfamiliar territory. I mean, also we have to shout out. I think people don't know that behind the scenes we're working with a production company I dare say production company now because young people
now under the age of 25.
No, come on.
There's only a few that are like on their like late 30s. Omunye like just celebrated his birthday. Imagine.
Shut up. But yeah, I mean, I think we, like you said when we started with Tino, it's always been deliberate of us to, if we're going to do things new, let's just be new in everything, new in perspective, new in the direction, also new in terms of team and everything.
Yeah, and also like give people a platform just to be themselves also and not go into controversial spaces where like people are not being comfortable to go to. And also like another thing is that, you know, there are a lot of stories that are not told about people in the industry and they are not being told in the right way. So that's what like I would really like us, like that I want us to do. And with these previous episodes, we did that. We also had like sneaker reviews, you understand. With all of that, we are like really deep diving into the culture because that's what the culture is. Everybody has a story to tell with a certain sneaker that they have.
True story. I mean, we shipped to Zimbabwe with Tino. We went to
and then we came back to South Africa.
We came back to South Africa.
Without a passport.
We've also then dabbled into KZN versus Joburg and that sort of thing. So it really also speaks to where we're taking the conversations intentionally too. And I think one of the things, I mean, if we were to kickstart it with Tino, just to reflect on was the whole thing of how actually, when we talk about culture, how Africa is very intertwined. I mean, he's been here now he even qualifies for a citizenship here. So he's made South Africa his home. And it just speaks to how welcoming we are in terms of culture, correct?
It takes how many years to...
I think 10 years.
When you're in the country.
Yeah. After 10 years, I think 5 or 10 years, you're able to... You qualify for a citizenship. I'm not sure if he has taken it, but he's home now.
Yeah, most definitely.
He's home, and I mean, he's built brands. He's built himself as a brand.
Yeah, and also, like he is a part of the industry right now, and also like really part of the economy also.
Look, I mean, we cannot also not talk about the elephant in the room. All of the guests have been taller than you, dog.
Bro. Only two that are taller. Only two.
Okay.
Skin Dip is not that tall.
Okay.
Yeah, like only a few that are tall. Dog, I'm not that short. What are you talking about? I'm not that short, bro. A person who's really short is a person who's under 1.53. I'm 162.
Fine, but you still shortlist. Still very short.
It's fine. It's fine. We live it.
But it's all love. It's all love. It's all love. I was so jealous with that. I missed the second episode. Talk to us about some of the things that you got with the second episode,
bro,
and some of the conversations that came out of the second episode.
You missed out on a lot, bro, because we reviewed one of the most expensive sneakers from Converse. You missed out, and also we reviewed Tyler the Creator sneaker.
Jeez,
you understand? So like,
who is a big brand now?
Yeah, who is a big brand, because also like his collaboration with Converse is one of the most iconic ones. You understand? So with all of that, is that it shows really like there's a lot more to the culture than just collaborations that are not going nowhere, and also like how people relate to young people right now. It's like here in SA, for one, I think the person who had one of the biggest deals in terms of sneakers was the late Keenan Forbes.
Yeah, with
Reebok, because that was like one of the, you understand, of the monumental collaborations, because those are other things that we're going to talk about in terms of like collaborations and brands. You get what I'm saying? Also like the local brands that we have right now, which are doing exceptionally well in terms of like being part of the culture, being part of the industry, and also documenting our stories. Like, I want to ask you something. How important it is, do you think, the youth right now in documenting their history and part of their culture?
I always, very, very, very deep question. I always, unfortunately, and if we don't do this, then the quote is true when they say, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king.
Yeah.
Because you allow the media to narrate, you allow the person who does not have a lot insight about you to tell it, and to dictate to it. I think with the diversification of the media industry, with platforms booming, whether on print or digital, which digital, by the way, is an ever-evolving culture.
Yeah.
We had a family meeting the other day, and we were talking about, is Dugozetu, for instance, are so... There's part 1s, part 2s, part 3s. Yeah. And how do we preserve all of those? And we're even having a conversation of just doing a digital and print memoir. Yeah. And you can imagine if that's culture. So you can imagine with fashion, you can imagine with every other thing, with sneakers, we need to document these things. We're talking about it as well with the Amapiano, with Kay the other day. At some point, this movement, this culture needs to be documented.
It's not well documented.
Yes, and we cannot rely on Americans and all the other
to end up telling
our story. You know,
Remember, what is this? Ushaga.
Yes.
Like when the first one.
Oh yes, with Henry.
With Henry Tell. It wasn't us, like it wasn't South Africans who were telling that story.
True.
But it was told by people from overseas, because sometimes when people like from somewhere else are telling your story, they don't tell it in a way that it benefits you, and also like it's gonna be twisted in a way.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. There's going to be a element of bias, and I mean, it was a glaring difference. Because then you start realizing the depth of what we knew. I heard in one other podcast, they were even saying Utushaka was not black.
Yeah, Oguti, he was light skinned.
Yeah, it was light skinned. So those are some of the things that we allow. If the one-eyed man to give him the power to do it, we allow him that, and that is. I think it's very important for us to document it, and even with the sneakers as well. I mean, we live in how many brands now? Via, we've got Bathu, we've got
Drip,
we've got Drip. He's Spellet. You understand? And
all of the other one that Kia was rocking the other day. What?
I forgot it now.
Yenza or something.
Yenza.
So we have a lot, and there's nobody who is telling that story, and there's nobody who's covering that story, because brands like your Drip, they've had collaborations with the likes of Casper, and they have a lot of brand ambassadors. You understand? And Abo Bathu, they had Abo Somizi and all of that. And that story hasn't been told, and it hasn't been documented that well in terms of like, okay, cool, now let's tell our story in terms of like, okay, cool, these are the people, this is what they've done, this is what they've done, this is what they've done. And like, let's just take it back for one, you understand? It's guys from Alex that came up with that sneaker, you understand? And also is that there's a rich history with Alex, like a lot of people that come from Alex, of which those are the stories that are behind the sneaker, of which they should be told in a way that's documented. Because if they're gonna be talking about Nike and everything like that, there's a story behind them, and it's well documented.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So now we need to start documenting our own things and really showing how it started, we understand all of that, because now it shows okay, cool, we're building towards something, and be patriotic about everything. Like, we have the dopest history as South Africans, of which we haven't. Because also, like, look at it, Drip right now.
Yep. And the sad thing is with all of this is the patriotism should start with actually us buying the sneakers.
Yeah.
I mean, on average, you buy, how much you spend on a Nike, on an Adidas, you spend about 2K.
Yeah.
I was talking with Kay the other day. With 2,000 Rand, you buy two via footwear.
Yeah.
Sneakers with that 2K. And also, we very quick also, again, as unpatriotic as we are, very quick to nitpick. Now what's trending is that Drip is owing, the owner's owing this supplier, owing that supplier, and we are thriving on that. And
but the thing is, why didn't they document the history of it? So it's okay, cool. It Drip is like this and like this and like this, but we document the negative that's behind it.
No, but again, it comes back to this thing. I remember, I forget the guy's name. The guy who designed our first cell phone, I think. His story. We laughed when he failed. I think Vusi Tembagwa said in one of the podcasts, we shouldn't have.
Yeah.
You understand? The other pigments of the skin and the other racial and the other groups protect their own.
Yeah.
And I think with us as this pigment of the skin, we need not to. When something goes wrong in our culture, I feel Tinas Kula Mbuti, Mawin's in the wrong, they call you aside and tell you, no, Ndwana, this is what you need to do. You guys are studying this podcast. Yes, there are these and these, but we're going to continue to support.
Yeah.
So, Tina, it's a matter of we just close it and that's about it.
Yeah.
And you can imagine if we talk about Drip is owning how many stores? How many families are employed in those stores?
Yeah.
It's a whole economy. And that's not even talking about manufacturing. It's the same thing with Bathu. It's the same thing with Via. So the minute we as the people who need to be patriotic towards that,
but also another thing is that these guys are fighting youth unemployment, for one.
Yes.
Because it's a lot of the youth that is not employed at the moment.
Yep.
But they are playing their role in terms of like trying to rescue the country in that. But also the people that need the jobs a lot are the ones that are shooting them down.
Exactly.
Because Unota is my boy, but then for one, I don't agree with some of the things that he says in terms of like where are they manufactured and everything like that. For one, if you have never done research about how much it takes to start a sneaker from scratch and everything like that, and like for it to be manufactured, right? And one, it cost of the machines.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying? So we can't be on these guys' necks. We see like, why are they not doing this? Why are they not doing this? Why are they not doing this in the country? And expect them to strive in terms of like producing their things here. But the moment they fail, we are the ones who start like going at them like no one's business.
I was having a conversation with my mom to answer that.
Yeah.
South Africa before 1994 was an industrial economy.
Yeah.
We used to have textiles. We used to have factories, sewing. All of those things used to be there pre-1994. What happened after 1994? All of those factories closed.
Yeah.
I think David Tlale was even alluding to that in one of the podcasts. We used to sew. What you're talking about, there were ladies in town that used to sew. There were ladies in KZN and all these places. All of those factories are closed.
Yeah.
And so we know that our economy has a lot of red tape. You know, if we're going to go back to those things, we need to legislatively change a lot of things so that we then begin to have factories where we can, who will do the detailing, who will do the sewing, who will do all of those things. But again, we are talking about, no one talks about Gucci and their manufacturing processes.
Yeah, because now, but like they are not being manufactured in the countries where they come from.
Exactly.
You understand? But then we are the first to shoot these guys down that are like really trying to do so much for the country. And we are the ones that are really not behind them as much as we should be. Because once something happens, even in newspaper, you'll see them posting about it. Oh, he owes this much, he owes this much. But then it happens to everybody who's an entrepreneur. You understand?
Yeah. And remember also when Valentino, the sneaker business is a relatively new space in South Africa. I mean, we're counting, these brands are just a few. We also have obviously other guys as well that we might not be aware of who are selling privately. So it is still an economy. I always say we need to be kinder to ourselves in terms of this is still, they're mapping, this is what you need to, we're talking about documenting.
Yeah.
This is what they need to do in future. This is what we need to talk about, the Drip story, the Bathu story. And Theo with Bathu is, you can tell that his moves are intentional in terms of
100%.
Taking it to Africa because he said he's doing that, and he's partnering with the owner. I forget his name for Drip now.
Yeah,
and they're moving, and they were saying that
they're moving as a unit.
Yes, there's no use fighting each other.
Yeah,
there's more than enough for everybody to have more than enough on the table.
A million %. And also, like, man, this weekend was wild.
Are you talking about Kabza?
Yeah, like, you know what he did is so iconic in a way that, I don't think there's any. Oh, I think Black Coffee did perform with an orchestra, and now it's Kabza.
Yeah.
And it was amazing.
Look,
like it was amazing. If you are not inspired by that,
look, there's so many things we can talk about. Kabza the Small. We can talk about the classical marriage that happened between Amapiano and classical music. We can talk about Red Bull in terms of them partnering with that, which, by the way, it started I think last year or the year before, where they're working with iconic musicians who can really transcend in terms of musically. But for me, outside of that, Ofense and her orchestra. Remember, she is the first Black South African woman to conduct and to have her own orchestra.
Yeah.
For her to then direct and to, pun intended, score the whole entire piece, for me is musically, but also it's something, again, like you're talking about history.
Yeah.
We need to document that.
Like, I really can't wait to see all of that. Like, to see the whole thing. Like, when now, like, I'm just watching it. And to get inspired more by it. Because when I was watching my clips, but, you know, like, I saw, like, my clips that I saw. I saw Young Stanners one when he was performing. And there is this guy, what's his name? Njelic.
Look,
Njelic, I think Njelic is like, he did one of the best performances out of everybody there because he was on point and he wasn't asking people to back him up when he was singing.
Yeah.
You understand? Because can you feel it while you're performing with an orchestra?
Remember, classical music, you can't get away with that. But also, if you remember the Amapiano reality show that he shot, he attended, and I wasn't sure if it was true. I thought it was just for clout and for reality show purposes. But he partnered with RJ Benjamin, who, by the way, is one of the best producers and musical teachers that we have and vocal coaches we have in this country. So when you're telling me that vocally was on point,
bro,
it simply tells me that a big shout out needs to go to RJ Benjamin.
Njelic was on point, bro. Like the way he was projecting his voice and the command of the crowd. You understand? Like, to me, that's like artistry in a different level. Because usually Njelic, we think, he's just a DJ. But the way, like, bro, even the stage presence, you understand? You can perform, scream, however, because like when I saw Young Stan, I was like, with an orchestra though, like, you understand? Like that's you performing in a festival.
I think also it was a learning experience. Remember, these are new artists. And remember, Amapiano, it was their first attempt to tap into a different space with an orchestra, with instruments. And I think the Maus, from what I heard, it was a good attempt, and I think that should spur them on as artists to say live performances don't play. And I remember the late Dr. Usbongile Kumaro, God rest her soul, used to say, we don't play when it comes to live. Classical music people, even it's a different ball game. It's the microphone will pick up if you can sing or if you can't sing. And
I think that's why, to me, I felt like Njelic was the best performance.
I'm happy for him. I really am.
Like as I said, with like the voice projection, stage presence, and he wasn't jumping up and down, bro. He was just walking around, and it was so beautiful. Like my clips, like, but then that's why I'm saying I can't wait to see the whole thing. And then from there, I could say, okay, cool. But Njelic, from what
you saw,
like I saw Young Stanners one. I think Young Stanner was too much.
But also remember, he's a new wave, and that is his approach. And I think with music, also remember it's also about approach. So we also have to. But for me, I think we cannot also forget Kabza the Small, because I think what this did, it showed us where he is. I remember
he's beyond a lot of people.
I always say to people,
almost forgot. For his performance also. For his performance also.
I
think now I can say it's him and Njelic like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't wait. I really can't wait for the DVD. And also I think, like I said, Kabza the Small, musically, sonically, I think Red Bull and with the whole symphony concert was an applaud to say to him, you're doing well for the culture, for the musical culture. And also his visitation to Black Coffee again was another validation. So there's a lot of things we as South Africans need to give him his flowers. Outside of what we propaganda about him and is he a true artist or not, when there's something great, it reminded me so much of Philip when I saw clips. Like, we need to get to a point where we need to push boundaries as artists. Like you're touring and doing all those types of things that are not conventional. I mean, you were talking about the Tyler sneaker. We need to start doing things that are conventional in terms of partnerships. And I think that is where you were talking about. Keenan Forbes He did a whole documentary about the sneaker with Reebok and what was the concept behind it. So we need to be intentional again in terms of, we mustn't just, it's good to get the bag, but there must be a marriage of getting the bag as well.
Yeah. And you know, we see like, as much as we don't give too much props on people, is that Kabza right now, he needs to be given his flowers for this, because like it was like extraordinary. And it's something that when we look back at, we're gonna be like, oh my God, you understand? And a lot of artists should look into these things, because the hip hop guys, like I think WHP did it.
Yeah.
AKA did it twice, performing with an orchestra. And now
Questa as well.
Yeah, we need more guys to do this type of things. Like I would really love to see Aries doing it, because he has like a massive catalog, like a dope
and
catalog.
Content as well.
You understand? Yeah. And also Cooley, like I would really like to see him doing those type of things where he performs with an orchestra and all of that. And also the person that I think is very much slept on, who could like do something huge, is JR.
Remember, I think JR, obviously, with looking at him with his Feel Good live sessions as well, you could tell that he is a producer, and a lot of hip hop and a lot of musical guys do not know just how rich his catalog from a producing point of view is, let alone him as an artist.
Yeah.
Just how much he's done musically for artists like the late Keenan Forbes.
Yeah.
For me, I think musically, apart from just doing symphony type of concerts, it's how do you push the envelope musically, and even with brands. I mean, we're talking about sneakers and kicks and cultures. How do you kick into gear with your brand partnerships?
Yeah.
Are you shifting the culture? You know, this shifted Amapiano as a culture. So for me, we're looking for all of those things, and also for us as content creators and as creatives, we need to see that what can we do that can push the envelope. We've seen it also with alcohol brands, and I think we need to be intentional and say, how do we, as the culture, how do we in all the boardrooms, when we partner, we do things that shift the culture and shift the gear.
Yeah, because like the brand partnerships, we have seen them.
Yep.
We have seen how things happen. We have seen how people do it in terms of like these brand partnerships and everything like that. We saw your AKAs with Cruise, which was one of the biggest also like deals with an alcoholic brand.
Yep.
Because that one changed the way people approach Ilokuzanama brands.
True
in
story.
Terms of like, you get what I'm saying? Because I think he was making money per bottle. Like he was making...
He also designed, I think, 2 flavors, the banana and my favorite still to date, the watermelon.
I've never tasted it.
Tastes absolutely amazing. You can actually drink it neat.
For real?
Yeah. You can actually, with ice, neat, you can actually, speaking about, I mean, if you were to, what would be, if someone were to partner with Valentino brand-wise, who would it be currently, and why would it be that?
Currently?
Yeah.
South African or international?
Let's stick to, let's say locally and internationally.
Locally, for me, would like locally right now in terms of sneakers, because that's one of my favorite things. Understand?
Mm-hmm.
It would be Bathu. I would go for Bathu any day, because I've like really been part of their history and knowing it's okay, cool, the gents are like this. I understand. And also like their first sneakers when they were selling from the boots you can understand. So that's part of their history also, you understand. So for me, it would be Bathu. And internationally, obvious. Internationally, obvious. So we're not gonna even go very far.
Okay.
And you?
For me, locally it has to be Via. I've said I love how comfortable their sneakers are. But also I just think I'm big on names and words have a certain emotive how they evoke you, and Via move. You know, I just love that whole thing. Internationally,
you love the inspiration behind it.
The inspiration behind it.
Yeah.
Internationally, I'll have to lean on what I grew up with. I don't know if a lot of the people would know, there was a brand, or there is still a brand called Hush Puppy. They had the most beautiful shoes, stylish, authentic.
Yeah.
I'm revealing my age. But it's iconic, and again, it's because we grew up in the era where dressing up was a thing. You know, you show up
looking nice.
You show up. You understand? So it would definitely be those two. But I mean, I think also as we wrap up, what has been some of the highlights with episode 1 to 3 for you?
Okay, episode 1. I really loved the conversation that we had, because sometimes is that you don't know somebody until you have a conversation with them.
True.
Yeah, so I really love that about the first episode. And the second episode, it was learning more about the brand, and also because like when you're learning from somebody who you're just sitting here with and they have a rich history of that brand. And the third one, man, I think to me, like, it was really, really fun. I really enjoyed it because also it's like, you could have a conversation with one of your friends, but then when they deep dive into them and also like giving you the backstories that you have never had a conversation about, that was,
it's been really, really dope. I mean, I think with Tino, big guy, big guy, but with such emotion. You know? It's very beautiful to see the contrast. How vulnerable it is, and I think it's fatherhood we saw with him, and how that is reflective in the success that they have with their brands. I think having missed out on the second episode, I just really think, pun intended again, the frequency of the
it's fine.
The frequency in terms of all three of them are in the frequency of growth. Frequency of tapping into new cultures. All of them, if all the people that we've brought have diversified. So they're not just boxed into one pocket of creativity. They're boxed into many pockets of creativity. And I think it's, as me and you, as well as also aspiring creatives, and also the team behind us. It's good for us to learn, to understand in this economy, which sometimes, if not all the time, can be unfair. It's good for us to have many heads to make resources of and enjoy it while we're at it. Yes,
sir. So before we forget, if you want to book Pro Production Studios, just make sure that you just email bookings@proproductions.co.za.
By the way, the facilities are top tier.
Just make sure that you just hit them up, man. And no. You were so you pay the bill, you do the bills and whatnot. And also just make sure, man, that you subscribe to @Evoke Group Network. Just make sure that you
Thank you to everybody, guys, who's subscribing. Thank you to everybody who's showing the love, the people who share. We appreciate you. We cannot also not forget this lovely team that is behind us, that is pushing us. We appreciate so much. We have more in store, right?
Yeah, there's still a lot that's gonna happen. And by the way, I don't like you guys, but we are. I'm talking about our team.
I almost said hypo.
I'm talking about our team, not about everybody else. I'm talking about our team.
Guys, peace out. Much love.
We out.
We outie. As usual,
you know the story. Yeah, but I still don't like it.